Hi, this is Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this really simple folded double thick pot holder. This is really a beginner project. This is one of the first projects I learned how to do as a new crocheter. It's all done in single crochet. We do have a little chain loop here, but it works up real quick, real easy, and it makes a great pot holder or a hot pad. It's really a simple project, great for beginners, also great for experienced crocheters if you want to make a lovely gift for someone. If you're giving them a housewarming gift of pots and pans, you can make up some nice pot holders for them. I also have a tutorial on how to make a sponge with a scrubby side and a matching washcloth, which I will link in the description box below. What you will need to make this pot holder is some cotton yarn. I used Premier Home Cotton. For this size pot holder, you're going to need, you should be able to get away with one ball, but you might want to have two just in case if you're a little bit of a looser crocheter than I am. You will probably use a little bit of a second ball of yarn, so you might want to just have two. The color that I used, if you're interested, is called Poolside. This is a medium 4 worsted weight yarn. These balls are 105 yards, 2.1 ounces or 60 grams, 96 meters. Premier Home Cotton is an 85% cotton, 15 polyester. You could also use Lily Sugar and Cream yarn as well. You will also need a H hook or 5.0 millimeter hook. Today I'll be using my Clover Amore hook. You'll want a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and you will need a stitch marker because we are going to be working in the round. This pot holder is worked all in one piece. So once you have all your supplies together, let's get started. Before I jump into today's tutorial, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe icon down in the corner there. It's that little one with my picture on it that'll subscribe you to my channel. And if you like content like this, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button that lets YouTube know that you like my videos. And if you want to hit that notification bell, that'll let you know whenever I upload a video. So to start the double thick pot holder, the folded double thick pot holder, you're going to want to start with a slip knot on your hook any way that you make your slip knot. And we're going to start with a chain of 41. Just do a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook and draw it through that slip knot. And just keep yarning over and drawing through, and that keeps making one chain. You're going to do that 41 times till you have a chain of 41. Once you have a chain of 41, come on back and we'll start our project. Now that we have our chain of 41, we're going to be working just single crochets for this project. We're going to start second chain from hook. Our loop on our hook does not count as a stitch. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to start in that second chain. What I like to do is I like to flip my chain over and work in these back bars of the chain. So this is going to go 1, 2, and we're going to start in this back bar right here. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. That's a single crochet. So you're going to work one single crochet into each one of those back bars till you get to the end of the chain. I'm at the end of the chain. We have 40 single crochets at this point, but we're not done with this round because we're going to be working in rounds. So we're going to take our work and we're going to flip it over. Here's our little tail, starting tail. And since we worked in the back bars, we're going to see these little V's now. So now we're going to work one single crochet into each one of these V's, which is the underside of the chain or the opposite side of the chain. So let's get our tail out of the way. And we're going to put our hook into that first V right there. Now you could work over the top of this tail. For right now, I'm just going to push it aside. And we're going to work one single crochet into each one of these V's. Now if you're finding that you're having trouble getting your hook in there because it might be a little bit tight to get it under both strands, you could just work it under one of the strands. But I like to get it under both strands because I think it gives you a better seam in that center right there. I think it just makes your project look a little bit nicer. But again, if you're having trouble getting your hook in there, if your tension is a little bit tight, you can just go under one of the strands. Okay, continue working one single crochet into each one of those stitches till you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end, or the beginning of the row, which will be all the way back here. I am at the end of the row, so this would be all what's called round 1. You're going to be working in rounds all the way around the outside of this. As you add your rows on, it's going to start looking like a rectangle pouch, and that is correct. If your piece does not look like a rectangle pouch, you might have added a stitch or skipped the stitch. So this is why you're going to start using a stitch marker. To start row 2, we're going to flip our work again, and in this first stitch, we're not going to slip stitch to join. We're just going to go right into this first stitch with a single crochet. And this is going to be working continuous rounds. So this is the first stitch of round 2. So we're going to go ahead and put our stitch marker right in there. You don't have to use these fancy locking stitch markers. You can use just a piece of yarn, a paper clip, anything that just marks that very first stitch. So then you just continue working one single crochet into each stitch around. You're going to have 80 single crochets all the way around. It's a good idea to count your stitches at the end of each round to make sure you have 80 stitches each round. So just continue working one single crochet into each stitch all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 2. So we're at the end of round 2, and as you can see, it's starting to curl up already. So we have our corners. And now to start round 3, all you're going to do is take out your stitch marker, put your first single crochet of the round right in that stitch, then replace your stitch marker. And you're ready to keep starting the round. So this is your first stitch, and you're going to just continue with one single crochet. So this is the beginning of round 3. Go all the way till you have 20 rounds of single crochet, and it's going to look like a rectangle pouch. I will meet back up with you once you have your 20 rounds on, and I'll show you how to finish your pot holder. I'm at the end of round 20. We still have 80 single crochets. We're going to go ahead and take this stitch marker out. And let's just put it in our stitch here so we can take our hook out. And we're going to go ahead and back out the camera. And how we're going to fold this is we're going to put it up like this, and we're going to pop our corners. And this is our tail, which has already been, I already wove the tail in, but I'm just going to leave that inside because there's no really need to clip it off. You can clip it off if you want to, though. And we're just going to fold it into a square. So we're just going to get your corner here and just keep folding it over till you have a square. And we're going to be sewing this seam together. So what we need, we're in the center here, so we need to get all the way back up to the corner. And how we're going to do that is we're going to go back into our stitch here, and we're going to single crochet about 28 stitches up to the corner. So just go ahead and work 28 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, all single crochets, 4, 5, 6, 27, and 28. Now I'm going to go ahead and just stop right here so we can straighten out our fold. So we're up at the corner, and you'll see that this all lines up. So that we can sew this together. Our seam lines up nicely. And now we're going to go ahead and put a holder on the end of our pot holder before we sew it together. So we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then slip stitch back into that same stitch, that last single crochet that you made. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch right back into that one, and then fasten off. But you're going to want to leave yourself a nice long tail for sewing. So leave yourself a nice long tail so that you can sew down your pot holder. So let's grab up our yarn needle and we'll start sewing. So I got my yarn needle threaded, and we're just going to go and whip stitch the seam together. We're just going to go in one side and through to the other. Now you could go ahead and, if you wanted to, you could slip stitch this together, but it would leave a little more of a seam. Whip stitching it doesn't leave quite as much of a seam. I mean, it does leave a little bit of a seam, but it's not as obvious. You could also do like a mattress stitch, whichever stitch you would prefer. Just go all the way down to the other end. I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, here's what it looks like all sewn. There's your seam. You could, especially with this multicolor, you can hardly even see it. And here's the other side. And we have our holder, and it makes a nice double thick pot holder. So if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that bell so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!